Recall I briefly mentioned earlier that because this for loop was itself enclosed inside of that try block, one single error on any iteration of the loop would cause the execution of the program as a whole to go ahead and jump to the next except block. So the code would read from the file until it found a non-integer line, and then it would quit. So here we see it read two lines, lines 1 and 2, but then it encountered an error. This file contains some lines with integers and some without, and it reads from the file as long as it's encountering integers. But the first non-integer causes it to jump to the except block. But maybe that's not what we want. If our code encounters a line it can't read, maybe we want it to just continue and try to read the next line. Here's the revision that would actually do that. Notice that we've alternated the order of the for loop and the try block. Instead of putting the for loop inside of the try block, we've put the try block inside of the for loop. What that means is that we enclose each iteration of the loop inside of a try block. If one iteration fails, it jumps to the except block, but then it jumps to the end of those blocks, which sends it back to the for loop to check to see if we're done yet. The key note here is that the except block is inside the for loop. If that's confusing, here's a quick analogy. Imagine I told you to go read a book and tell me if you had any problems. You go read the book, read to page 5, and find that page 5 is written in a different language. So you come back to me and tell me that you had an error. That's like putting the for loop inside the try block. I've told you to try to read the book until you hit an error. So as soon as you hit one page that has something you can't read, you come back to me. On the other hand, imagine if I told you, read page 1, read page 2, read page 3, read page 4, telling you the pages one by one. You might come back to me and say that a certain page was something you couldn't read, but I keep telling you to read the next page. That's like putting the try block inside of the for loop. One single iteration of the for loop, one single page of the book, could generate an error, but that one page or that one iteration isn't going to stop you from reading the file or reading the book altogether. So in our previous code, when it jumped from the print statement to the except block, it was jumping outside of the for loop. You can actually see it crossing the line, defining that level of indentation. Now when it jumps from the print to the except block, it does not leave the for loop. You see that it doesn't cross that line of indentation. And so the loop will continue with the next attempted iteration. And we see that in our output as well. It correctly reads line 1, which holds the number 1, correctly reads line 2 and holds the number 2, then on line 3, it generates a value error. But that doesn't stop it. It continues trying. And then on line 4, it generates another value error. If line 5 of the file had had the number 3, then it would have printed the number 3. If line 6 of the file had had the letter C, it would have printed another value error. The errors are caught on a line-by-line basis instead of for the file as a whole.